Carroll bringing it forward. Thompson's making the run. Carroll hangs on to it though. Still Davy Carroll. Could go all the way here. Oh, what a goal!
I don't know what it is that makes me love you so. I only know I never wanna let you go. 'Cause you started something, don't you see? That ever since we met you had a hold on me. It happens to be true. I only wanna be with you.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ringing the Blues. On the show this week we have all the action and reaction from the trip to Blackpool on Saturday. We also hear from the gaffer Matt Bloomfield about the summer transfer window, now the window has closed. And Ross Miller, the Wycombe Wanderers fan, joins us on Till Death Us Do Part. But first, let's head to Mexico City for some Chairboys Spanish and the full Liga One results with Uri.
We are ringing the blues from Mexico City. It's me, Uri, and here are the results for League One. Blackpool 2, Wycombe Wanderers 2, Rotherham United 2, Huddersfield Town 1, Birmingham City 2, Wigan Athletic 1, Bolton Wanderers 0, Exeter City 2, Bristol Rovers 2, Cambridge United 0, Crawley Town 0, Barnsley 3, Mansfield Town 1, Stockport County 1, Northampton Town 0, Burton Albion 0, Peterborough United 0, Wrexham 2, Reading 2, Charlton Athletic 0, Shrewsbury Town 3, Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 0, Lincoln City 1. So, as you know, the Chairboys game was on TV, so it kicked off at 12:30 p.m. Well done to all the Wycombe fans who made it to the game, because the supporters' coaches left Wycombe at 6 a.m. You know, regularly they play at 3 p.m, so the game was 3 hours early. That's what I called a very loyal and supportive herd. So, Chairboy Spanish this week, the lunchtime kickoff. How do we say to kick in Spanish? Patear. How do we say kickoff? Patada inicial, initial kick. So, and now how do we say lunchtime? Well, lunch is almuerzo, and almuerzo has an Arabian and Latin etymology. Many words in Spanish that begin with the prefix al, they may come from the times 5 centuries ago where the Arabs were present at the Iberian Peninsula. So Spanish has components of Arab. So al, it's like the, and muerzo comes from what's the word? Where? Morsus in Latin, which means bite, to take a bite. It's like French morceau. So almuerzo means to take a bite. And lunchtime kickoff is patada inicial a la hora del almuerzo. Chairboy Spanish this week, a complicated etymology from a very simple word. That's it for this week. Back to England with my amigo Filiberto Cachapollos. Adios.
Many thanks, Uri. Magnificent as ever. Right then, Wycombe Wanderers headed to Blackpool to take on the Tangerines in the early kickoff on Saturday. The sun shone, and here's what happened. Commentary from Sky, because the EFL-appointed production company had technical difficulties. Apologies on their behalf.
Choices to make today after the window closed.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I spoke about it after the game on Wednesday. You know, I've played in those. We had a really nice cup run a few years ago where the euphoria of a cup night and then to lift yourself again on the Saturday. I know a few of the other boys found it tough at times because of the amount of energy you put into it, emotional. So it really felt like with the lads that we had resting on Wednesday evening and Jack coming back from his injury, it really felt it was the right thing to get the energy back on the pitch.
And nice few days away as well. It was a late night Wednesday, but the boys have been together this week.
Yeah, it's been lovely to have the group together. You know, they're really knitting nicely. Obviously, we're missing a few that are back at Harlington injured, which is unfortunate. But it's been lovely to have the group together, and it's really nice and fortunate for me for the club to back us to stay away. So again, thank you to Michael, Edward, and Dan for backing that. We've recovered as well as we possibly can, and we have to make sure we're ready to go.
Managerless Blackpool have precious little to show for their efforts so far in League One. Just 1 point from their opening 3 league games, and even that would have felt like a defeat, having been 4-1 up at Cambridge, only to draw 4-4. Blackpool, though, did win at Lancashire rivals Blackburn in the Carabao Cup in midweek. Wycombe are the visitors today, with the Chairboys recovering from a slow start. A home win over Rotherham and a cup win at Swansea sees them arrive on the seaside with their tails up. Blackpool starting strongly here. Decent ball into the box. Lovely football straight at the goalkeeper. It was an opportunity. Certainly the best of the game so far. And it fell to Fletcher. Good build-up play. Ashley Fletcher should have done better. Either side of the goalkeeper, and that was 1-0. Blackpool certainly do have the attacking players to cause Wycombe problems. Kyle Joseph has been busy and lively so far as well. Fletcher should have scored with that earlier chance. Now they've got some defending to do at the other end. Wycombe threat coming forward as well, and the goalkeeper, well, it goes past him in the end, and Wycombe opening the scoring. And it's Gareth McCleary, just 10 minutes in. And Blackpool surely had to do a lot better defensively there. It's a bit of a howler from the hosts. The goalkeeper did get a boot to it, but the header unmarked. Gareth McCleary past the keeper and in for 1-0. It looked a little bit too easy. Udoh was involved. He was the creator. McCleary the scorer. Blackpool 0, Wycombe 1. Wycombe got a threat on the counter, but they've been pickpocketed here. That's good work in midfield from Ollie Norburn. And into the area, and off the post. Goodness me, how did that not go in? It's a big, big opportunity for Don Ballard. How did he not score? He got a boot to it, off the post and safely into the goalkeeper's grateful arms. Sadly is over it. Decent ball into the area, needed the header, wasn't away though, and that's a brilliant stop from the keeper. Richard O'Donnell take a bow to surely prevent a certain Wycombe goal. Look at the reflexes here. Udoh was too strong. That's superb goalkeeping. Defender was beaten too easily. Wonderful reflexes from O'Donnell. Joseph there too. Trying to create some movement. It's towards Joseph, and it's gone in. Equaliser for Blackpool. And on the balance of play, it is deserved. Kyle Joseph. His movement in the box was terrific. He was trying to create the space, and he found it. Look at him lose his marker. Brilliant header, bobbled across goal. Blackpool 1, Wycombe 1. Wycombe, though, they have been a threat on the counter throughout. Poke that forward. Question marks over whether it was offside. Officials say wave play on. Udoh drops deep. He's been good all game. Good footwork as well to keep possession. There's Hartridge. That's well struck. It's too well struck for the goalkeeper. And Wycombe retake the lead. Dan Udoh. And his display deserves that goal. 12 minutes from time. Wycombe ahead again. Fabulous, patient play from Wycombe Wanderers. They work this well. And Udoh has been a threat all game. What a performance from him. Great stinging shot. And O'Donnell could not keep it out. Blackpool 1, Wycombe 2. Blackpool find themselves in the position of hunting an equaliser again for the second time. Can they find it? That's a good ball into the box. Super header, and it's 2-2. What a header that is. And it's Jake Beasley. He got the leveller at Blackburn in the Carabao Cup in midweek. And he's just got another equaliser today in the sunshine for Blackpool. Super header. Deserved equaliser. Blackpool 2, Wycombe 2. And it's the poacher Beasley. But again, you have to credit the ball into the box. On a plate for Beasley. Might have even come off his shoulder.
For another hugely entertaining game. What is your take on that 2-2 draw?
Yeah, my take is I didn't think we were good enough first half. You know, we've had maybe 24 hours less to prepare, and Blackpool, maybe that played into it, maybe not. You know, we've had a long week on the road, and I thought we just weren't quite half a yard closer to people. We just weren't quite there first half, which was disappointing. We changed shape, and I thought we got loads better. And then actually the biggest disappointment I suppose is that once we got ourselves ahead, we were in control of the game. I felt really comfortable, and the equaliser was offside. So yeah, I guess a couple of things went against us, but on the balance of play, it was probably a fair result.
You've seen it back, offside?
Yeah, it was offside. I've just been shown it by the analysts. It's disappointing really, because you know we work a lot, and we've spoken a lot this week about our back four or three as we were at that point, trying to squeeze and leave strikers in. But it's unfortunate because you squeeze the line, you leave him in, and then they played across and he's caught the wrong side of Joey. Debatable whether it was probably a foul on Joe as well, but essentially he's been able to get the wrong side of Joe because he was offside. 2 goals are away from home again, so the goal scoring must be pleasing. Yeah, definitely. I thought, you know, Dan Udoh, I thought was absolutely excellent today. You know, the work for the first goal, not taking anything away from GMAC, but Dan Udoh's goal and the work for the first one, all afternoon he was relentless in his work. I've been really pleased with him, but there's loads of other good performances. So yeah, another 2 goals is pleasing, and a point is absolutely pleasing. And Jack Grimmer, you know, made the point as we were coming off the pitch. It's been a very good week. You know, to go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, a win draw. I think Saturday morning, if you'd have offered me that, I would have taken it. So there's plenty to be pleased about, plenty to work on, and a few contentious decisions in there for good measure.
Declan Skura Football League debut as well, and that's a momentous moment in anyone's career.
Yeah, listen, Dec was fantastic Wednesday evening, and should feel absolutely aggrieved that he didn't start today. You know, as I said before the game, I felt like with such a quick turnaround and having some fresh bodies back, it was the right thing to do. But yeah, like, Dec's going to be a good player for us. We like him a lot. There's loads of his game that we like. He's got loads to work on, but he's a very good lad, and he wants to get better, and I thought he was very good when he came on.
Entertaining on the pitch, Roy. You've mentioned the change of shape against a friend, a colleague from 12 months ago, Richard Keogh. It was like watching a game of chess at times.
Yeah, it was. Keezy's a deep thinker. He's a football man. I like him a lot, Keezy. You know, we were really keen to get him in the building when he came last summer. We knew what he'd bring on and off the pitch. He obviously had an incredible career, picked up loads from loads of different managers, and you know, he's doing a great job here already in the time that he's had, and I hope he continues to do so, because he's a very good guy, and I like him a lot.
And finally, away from football, you've got the badge on. 2 years ago today, we lost our great friend Bill Turnbull.
Yeah, we did. Got the badge on to remember Bill, and my thoughts are with Ceci and the family today. You know, we know how much Wycombe Wanderers meant to Bill, and we know how much Bill meant to Wycombe Wanderers, and for us, he shared some huge moments with us, and you know, he was very kind to invite me and my family around to his for lunch, and we miss him, and we'll remember him. So yeah, thinking of Ceci and the family today.
We bemoan a refereeing decision on this day.
It's probably quite fitting, isn't it? Because I think Bill would have enjoyed having a good old rant about that. But you know, it's tough. You know, I make my point about the decisions. It's hard. You know, the officials today are given so many different things to think about. Loads of things that, you know, how much they impact the game. But the big moments like that, it's tough when it goes against you.
Dan and some lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Great goal today.
Thank you. Yeah, important goal for the team, important goal for myself. We're a bit gutted that we couldn't see it out, but if we're realistic with ourselves as well, they had a lot of chances. They could have buried us, but at the end of the day, we got a point away from home, and it's been a really good week.
Is it the frustration because you're a goal up with 9 to go and you could almost see the finish line?
Yeah, definitely. You can see the finish line, and you're just hoping for us to be nice and solid from front to back. But like I said again, if you can't win, you don't lose, and we didn't lose, so that was important for us.
A goal and an assist.
I hope they've given me the assist, but
I'm giving you the assist.
Yeah, thank you. It was it's one of the balls I always say to Joe Lowe to play in behind for me, so I can like to chase lost causes, just to give the defenders something to worry about and cause them some hassle. And luckily, normally the ref gives them as a foul, but he didn't see it as a foul, so brilliant for us and good for GMAT to get off the mark as well.
And a performance for yourself where you were up front and you dropped a bit deeper second half as well and showed your versatility for the team.
Yeah, like I've said before, I'm ready for whatever position the gaffer calls upon me. Just give it my best and be all action.
And a birthday goal, because yesterday, I'm not going to reveal the number, but it was your birthday.
Yeah, 22 yesterday. Yeah, good birthday present. I prayed for that, so yeah, I'm delighted. Got a goal and we got a point away from home.
Well, safe journey home and happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you very much, my guy.
Great to hear it from Matt Bloomfield, pitchside at Bloomfield Road after the game, and Dan Udoh too, following his first league goal for the Chairboys. Right then, on to the opposition fans now. What did the Blackpool fans make of the game? Let's find out with the selected cuts from social media. It's the opposition view. Seaside Essex Exile.
Well, that's another 2 points dropped. I thought we created enough chances to win 2 games, but awful finishing by Fletcher in particular really cost us. First half was all pool, although second half was a bit quieter. Oh, their number 11 looked a real player though.
James.
We deserve to win that. Goalkeeping errors and not being able to put your foot through the ball. That's what let us down. You've got to be winning those.
Bullwinkle.
Wycombe are one of the worst sides I've seen at Bloomfield Road for many a year. And yet, we couldn't beat them. We've a shocking group of defenders and are missing midfield quality. We're a bottom 8 club this season.
North Stand Singe.
We're better than most teams in this division, but we're a team of losers. Mentality is huge. You can be the best team, but when you play against rubbish, if you're not mentally ready, you won't get anything. Player for player, there probably isn't one Wycombe player you would swap for ours, but they get a result. Football is about results. It's about winning, even if you're crap. We all want to play attacking football and have said we don't care about the results, it's about entertainment. But dropping points to Cambridge away and Wycombe at home is shocking. We're one of the bigger clubs in this division. It's time to start acting like it.
A tense grin.
We're just not good enough in both boxes. It's a shame, as the effort was there, but it's all a bit pointless when you make silly mistakes at one end and can't finish at the other.
Newbury won.
Well, it was another entertaining game. We played some of the best stuff I've seen in the first half. Their second half was much more even. And clearly we have a few things to sort defensively. But given the players we had unavailable today, I don't think we should have asked for more. The fact we never gave up and came from behind twice is also a big positive. We now have 2 weeks to make a decision on the manager's position, get some players fit, and go forward from there.
Mull.
I'd like to see Keogh get 10 or so games in charge and judge him then. He had limited options on the bench today, but with sharper shooting, we'd have been out of sight by half-time. It was frustrating, but I'd much rather watch that than a typical Critchley 0-0, no shots, no thrills stalemate.
Will.
We should have won that 6 or 7-2. Defensive and goalkeeping errors cost us. But for entertainment value going forward, it's so much better now. If we become solid at the back with that style of football, along with putting our chances away, I'd give Keogh a punt.
Costa Rosso, Poderoso.
We were very sloppy at times, and we should have scored 5 or 6. But in the second half, we shrunk into our shells a bit and let them play. Udoh seemed like a decent player for them. He caused us problems all afternoon. He dropped deep in the second half and no one picked him up, so he caused us even more. It was an entertaining game, although it lacked a bit of quality at times, as players tired. Our defensive triumvirate was all over the place, as was the keeper. But I think the team is a couple of weeks away from finding the right combination and performance.
BFC forever.
That was so much better today than under Critchley. 100%. Attacking football, fans entertained and happy faces in the ground instead of people sleeping and knitting. Fans pay to be entertained, and we were today. Well done, lads.
Frankie.
Oh, watching Blackpool and trying to get Oasis tickets. Talk about a stressful day.
With the summer transfer window closing at 11 p.m. the night before the game, we took the opportunity to speak with Matt Bloomfield about his thoughts over the window overall. Gaffer, in what was already a very busy week, the window closed the night before a game. Your reflections on the window overall?
My reflections are fatigue and tiredness at such a busy week. It's never easy when the window closes the night before a game. We had it last year and again today. I think it's been a very positive window, I have to say. I thank Dan and Edward and Mikhail for their backing with the business we've done. We've got some really good players in our building that are going to help us play the way we want to play, and I think it's been a positive window.
The fans love a deadline day signing, and they got two yesterday.
They did. Just met Caleb for the first time there. Obviously, we were away preparing for the game, so wasn't able to meet him in person. I spoke to him on the phone, and we got Shamal in as well, which we're really, really pleased about. So I've heard some real good things about Shamal. Football loves a deadline day signing, and I'm glad we were able to bring them too.
There's early signings in the window as well, so strategic thinking there as well. But then there's been a few, I guess, caused by the injury list as well.
Yeah, I think that last season, I think it's undoubted that the injury list that we got in the autumn, early winter really impacted on our results at that period of time, and we struggled to deal with it. So really fortunate this year to kind of pad out the squad a little bit more. It's going to make for more sleepless nights to make decisions and leave people out. I never enjoy those conversations, but we need to be prepared for those winter months. You know, we've got another exciting cup run, or a cup tie against Aston Villa. We've got 2 Bristol Street Motors games to put in and around the league form. So yeah, we needed to be prepared for those months, and we're really pleased with the business that we've done.
And from a goalkeeping perspective, obviously Nathan Bishop, a season-long loan, looks to be a nasty-ish injury. Is that what forced your hand in terms of going back into the market?
Yeah, definitely, because I think that Bish is going to be out for a little while, which is obviously disappointing. But Franco, it was a real tough call at the start of the season who to choose between the pair of them, because Franco was excellent for us at the end of last season, and I think that the point that Lee Harrison, the goalie coach, makes is it's not necessarily if Franco gets injured, it's if Laurie gets injured, then we've got no number 2 on the bench, because that's a long 4 months if something like that happens. So
you wouldn't be able to replace him on an emergency loan in that case.
Exactly, because Franco's done his 5 appearances. So yeah, we needed to get cover in, and we're really happy to get Shamal, and we're looking forward to working with him.
And you must be pleased now that the window's shut.
I am. It's been a brilliant week. Not really slept much. Got loads of work done. We've been away since Tuesday. The window's shut, and I'm looking forward to getting home and seeing my girls and getting on with the football next week.
Safe journey home and enjoy some rest and relaxation.
Thank you.
Supporting a football club is like a marriage. Your club is there for life through the good times and the bad. We ask Chairboys fans for their most cherished old memory, their current favourite player, the best borrowed player we've ever had, and for something blue, we talk club merchandise. This week we are joined by Wycombe Wanderers fan Ross Miller. Ross, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm really well, thanks, Phil, and it's a pleasure to chat to you in person, or even over a video link, but it's a pleasure. I've listened to you for years, and it's good to get to talk to you.
Oh, nice. Well, hopefully you've liked most of what you've heard down the years, but we'll see what happens today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right then, where does your journey with Wycombe Wanderers start? Because you're not based in Wycombe now, are you?
No, I'm based down mostly in Dover, but I do spend time across the water in the continent, and I've spent a lot of my life working overseas. So, but my journey started as a rather gauche 14-year-old when a friend of my father's managed to convince my dad to let him take me to a football match. My father was a rugby man, so it was a bit
Oh,
football. Yeah, I know. And he took me to see Wycombe at Corinthian Casuals, and that was it was in the 1974. I was 14, yeah, 1974. Um, and I sort of fell in love. I loved the kit, the 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 quarters. That was sort of what got impinged most on my memory. Plus, we won 4-0, which made a big difference. And I've sort of followed them ever since. It was even further cemented the following year when I went to Dr. Challoner's grammar school as a lad, and one of my physics teachers, Mr. Harris, signed up for Wycombe in the good old amateur days in 1974 and turned out 10 times for Wycombe. So that cemented the link even more. So
wow.
that was where I started with Wycombe back in 74. So what's that? Good God, 50 years ago.
Well, we're all looking good for it. That's the main thing. What's it like having a
Yeah.
teacher play for your football team? That's a unique thing we've had on this.
It's a bit strange, but he was reasonably good. He ended up then leaving Wycombe after 10 matches and joining Harrow Borough, where he played, I think, 250 odd times for them. But by that point, I was a Wycombe fan, so there was
Yeah.
no switching allegiance.
Fantastic. So you said you travel a bit as well, but being a lad from Bucks, no matter where you are in the world, I guess your football team keeps you connected to your area.
Yeah, absolutely. And my mum still lives in Cheltenham St Peter, so we've still got connections to the area. So it's and even when I was working in Brussels and Paris and Munich, I'd always check in on a Saturday for the football score, see how the boys had done, and like all sort of fairly nerdy guys, played Football Manager as Wycombe Wanderers, of course, um, yeah, to see if I could do as well as the managers or better, even.
Well, in this case, everyone jokes about, oh yeah, I took non-league Wycombe into whatever. We've kind of had that happen in front of our very eyes in real life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, good lord, when I first started watching them in the Isthmian League, I'd have thought you were mad if you said we'd play in the Championship. So to have actually got there and had a season there, and now to having watched the game against Watford, now to have a team that looks like it could certainly compete at the top end of League One this season, with an owner who's, with Dan Rice, clearly going about things the right way. So not doing a Birmingham and spending a fortune on players that may or may not be past their prime, Alfie May, but um, but actually building properly and putting the right foundations in place. And I think, I'm hopeful, possibly even confident that the new ownership will put us in the right place,
Wow, we
and
have.
let us grow to whatever we want to be, Phil. If we want to be in 10, 15 years' time, we can dream of being a Premier League side.
There we are.
If Luton can do it, why can't we?
Absolutely. Dare to dream, I think that's what they say. So
Yeah.
let's get into the questions then. So we'll start with something old, and it sounds like you've got quite a catalogue to pick from here. Your favourite ever Wycombe Wanderers memory?
Oh, that's a tough one. I suppose it was the game against Middlesbrough in the cup. Particularly the one at Lokes Park. It was just, yeah, you know, going as in my young skinhead days, with my boots and my jeans on, and yeah, it was and chasing, running up and down the hill to the station and back, and because I had to get a train to get home, and so yeah, that was pretty awesome, and the result was amazing.
It's before my time, but I've seen the highlights. The header that Wycombe Wanderers at 0-0 against, at this stage, top of the first division in new money, the Premier League. It would have been one of the biggest cup upsets of all time, and Wycombe were
absolutely,
by the look of the replay, a coat of paint away, possibly from getting the win against Jack Charlton's Middlesbrough.
Take the free kick. And again, Middlesbrough have paid Wycombe the respect of bringing everybody back. Hit firmly and low, and nodded just a fraction wide by Phillips. Thought for a moment that was the moment.
Absolutely, and it was a fantastic game. We played out of our skins, and it was very much in that sort of tradition of our non-league heights of not being afraid of anybody and just believing in ourselves, which it's lovely to see. That was the great thing about Ainsworth's era, and Blooms is carrying that on. Is we've reinstilled that belief in ourselves. We're not afraid of anybody. And you see that when the guys go out on the pitch. I can remember that classic quote from Grimmer about how he'd run through walls for Ainsworth. And you see that in the players and the way they all, even in the friendly game the other night where they, it got a bit spicy.
It
for
did.
a friendly, to say the least. But everybody was running in to support their mate. And that's what you want to see. You want to see them bonding as a team and believing that they can succeed, and it's wonderful to watch.
I was just old enough to sneak into Lokes Park before we moved to Adams Park, but for our younger viewers and listeners, can you describe what it was like? That Middlesbrough game would have been packed as well. Can you describe what a busy Lokes Park was like watching Wycombe?
It was strange because the pitch sloped 13 feet diagonally from one corner to the other. So if it was raining heavily and you stood in the wrong place, it was washing over your boots, as it ran off the pitch. But it was, it was old style terracing. There was nothing fancy about it. There was the hospital behind on one side on the hill, and there was the gasometers and all of that. And it was just, you were ram-packed in. But it was also, when it wasn't games like Middlesbrough, you changed ends at half time with your team.
Yeah.
So you went from one terrace to the other. Everybody swapped round because the crowds were low enough you could get away with that. And there was no segregation in those days. So and there was very rarely any trouble. It was, let's be honest, it was lower league and non-league was far too friendly for that sort of nonsense.
Yeah.
But it was great. And I mean, the rivalry at the time was Slough Town. Look where we are and look where they are. So, and it's just some of it's luck and some of it's just good stewardship. Let's be honest. You invest in the right places, you get to succeed.
Absolutely. Well, a wonderful old memory to go in. Let's bring it up to the modern day. People struggle with this question as well. Something new, your favourite current player at Wycombe Wanderers?
Oh, it's got to be Jack Grimmer. The old Aberdonian Cafu, I think I christened him. And I know you shouted that out a couple of times on commentary. But he embodies everything that the club is about. He was a wonderful choice for captain this season. Absolutely the right choice. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. He gives it his all. And that's all you want as a fan. You want your players to fight for the badge. And Jack definitely does, and good Lord, that scream when he screams on the pitch, you can probably hear it down in the town, because it's so distinctive and frankly so high pitched.
Yes.
And it was also great last season when he was injured and he was on co-coms with you and became Jack the Snack. And, but just, his passion for the game, even as a spectator, came across on those commentaries, how much he cares, how much he loves the club. And again, that's what you want from your squad. You want your players to love the club. And there is that cliche, and I know that you interviewed Hartridge and some of the other new lads this week, but it's lovely when they all go, yeah, people talk about the spirit at the club, but yeah, it's true, you know. And when they confirm that, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it was lovely chatting to Jack after we'd been given the armband, and he kind of said, look, 95% of it is off the pitch. It's about the culture and the importance of that. Now we're moving training ground as well and making sure that all of the good parts of the culture from Marlow Road travel down the motorway to Harlington as well. And Jack was like, well, that's my responsibility and the senior player's responsibility. So he's someone who definitely, knows the size of the task as well.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely my player, my new, if you like.
And well, we'll have to ask you a Jack-related question as well. Now, if you were to buy a Tunnock's chocolate wafer, would it be milk or dark chocolate, Ross?
Oh God, dark chocolate every time.
You're
It's
a good
got
man.
to be the dark chocolate ones.
I knew I liked you. We're in a minority, Ross. You know that.
They're weird. People who like the milk chocolate ones are weird.
We did some customer feedback last season. 75% of respondees of Wycombe fans said chocolate. So we're in a special breed, Ross. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Shows we've got taste, Phil.
Indeed. Right, let's move on to something borrowed. Now, this could either be your favourite ever loanee at Wycombe Wanderers or a player that you wish the club had signed but never did or never has yet.
I think I'll go for the loanee. I'm sure lots of people would say Potsy, and he was special. Is special. He's going to be an immense player. But the one that I would pick would be Nigel Lonwyke.
Yeah.
I just thought he only played for us for 3 months, but it felt like he'd been there all the time. He just slotted in. Really passionate, seemed to love his job, loved defending, loved doing what he was doing. He's absolutely everything you'd want in a defender. And, alongside the likes of Joe Lowe and Jack and JJ occasionally on the left, he slotted in superbly. And what is it they say, never fall in love with a loanee? I think we all did that last year with Potsy and Nigel. I think lots of us fell in love with them because they were so damn good.
It was only a short spell, like you said, but it seemed to have everything about being a footballer at a football club, because his first game at Stevenage, he had to get hooked off. He was struggling. You could tell he was sort of not match fit, and that, football fans, a few started to grumble saying, who's this we've signed? And then he got his feet and he kind of edged his way in. And then after about 2 or 3 games, he was absolutely fantastic.
But I mean, that bicycle kick goal, I mean, what more do you want from a left back central defender? Just spectacular.
And he just afterwards was just sort of like, yeah, what's the fuss? I do these all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's definitely one that I would love to see again in the quarters.
I guess in the not too distant future, we'll have this cultural decision about, loaning players in and developing players for other clubs, or developing our own youngsters, which we are doing as well with the development squad. But with talk of the academy on its way, I guess we maybe have to scrap this question and develop our own youngsters.
Absolutely. And I think, we've started, I've noticed this season and towards the end of last season, the lads that we were bringing into the development squad are getting younger and younger. I mean, the latest one's a 17-year-old, so we're clearly starting to drift into that academy territory. And that's only good for the club. I mean, it was a dreadful shame back in, 2012, when we had to shut the academy down because we just couldn't afford it anymore. And it was such a loss. And, if we look at, and I'm not comparing us with the likes of Brighton or West Ham or whatever, but if we look at what they've achieved and the quality of the players that they've now got coming through their academy, particularly Brighton, who, have been down in the lower leagues before, and then, they started down this road of data-driven acquisition of players. You look at what they've achieved and how they've brought players into their squad, or made money by selling them because they're not quite good enough for Brighton's first team, but they're good enough for championship clubs. And that's our opportunity. That's sort of got to be our goal. And I understood why we went down the Brentford B model to start with, because that was affordable and meant we could bolster the first team squad at a sensible price. But now we've got this golden opportunity, particularly with Harlington, to really develop something special for the club. With the likes of Sam Grace, why can't, and you look at what he's done with the players we've brought in and how he's helped them develop. Why can't we do the same thing with these kids that get rejected by these big clubs, at 13, 14, and nurture them into something special for us?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm really optimistic about the future.
You only have to look at Eberichieze, I think, released by a couple of big London clubs, by the time he was 12, 13 years old. And, look what he's gone on to achieve because of his loan spell at Wycombe, obviously. I have to shoehorn that in.
Absolutely. And he did mention that on his
yes,
on his interview during the Euros, didn't he?
Which was wonderful to see.
Nice to get a shout out.
And as you've revealed your vintage in the start of this interview, when we pick up players from like the Essex Senior League, like we did with Anis and recently with Richard Kone, and you've mentioned the young lad we've just signed from a team I actually had to look up from the non-league system. When you know where we've come from and how far that is down, you must really understand the big step up these kids are making. But there is talent there.
It's huge, Phil. It's absolutely huge. They talk in the Football League about the step up from League One to Championship, and then the even bigger step from Championship to Premier League. But stepping up from Tier 8 to League One is a huge step. You're playing with, no disrespect to Tier 8 footballers, but these are journeymen. They're in days gone by, they'd be in the pub on a Friday night and having a skinful before they turned out on a Saturday. We've all been there and done it for our pub teams. And I think, it is. We've got a reputation. We've got a long history and a long reputation of being a quality club, despite all the nonsense from our naysayers about us being practicing the dark arts and all of that rubbish. It was the two top non-league sides for decades were us and Bishop's Auckland, and we were constantly battling with each other to win the trophy and so on. And it's just, I thought the interesting thing, I was just out of curiosity, I was reading some history of the club the other day, and when the FA got rid of amateur status, for 3 seasons on the trot, the Wycombe committee refused to get promoted because they didn't feel it fitted with the ethos of the club to get promoted to what's now the conference.
Yeah.
They stayed where they were because that fitted the ethos of the club, and eventually gave in for commercial reasons because they saw that was the only way to keep the club going, was to go up to the highest standard we could play. And there is still that sort of sentiment that runs through the club, that there's something special about us, that it's not that we're better, but just morals and ethics and how we want to play the game and how we want to operate as a club and how we fit into our community with things like the foundation. The work that you guys in the comms department do in reaching out to the community. I think all of this is the sort of stuff you see at the big clubs, but you don't necessarily see at clubs at our level. And I think it says a lot about us as an organisation, about what we think about ourselves and where we fit in the grand scheme of things. And I think that's really important, to have that sense of place. And that doesn't mean we can't aspire to better or want to grow or want to achieve. Of course not. But it grounds us. And we're very grounded in that sense, Phil. And I think that's a wonderful thing to have. And we should never, ever lose it.
Oh, well, I'm getting a little misty-eyed here, Ross.
Yeah, I get passionate about certain things, Phil. There you go.
I can see it. It's lovely to see and hear. Right, on to something blue. Now, this could be either your favourite piece of club merchandise, or if you have an idea that the club should introduce to the club shop.
So as you can guess from my style, and you've seen photographs of me at the playoff final and what have you. You know, I have a certain sense of style. I don't do football shirts. It's just not really me.
For our listeners,
what I would love.
For just our listeners who haven't got the video on, Ross is wearing a very snazzy pair of sky blue braces, just to set the scene.
What I would love is a short sleeve button down check shirt in the club's colours.
Oh, that would be lovely.
You know, I would buy it tomorrow, Phil. Absolutely.
A button down check shirt, dark and light blue, small check or big check?
Probably. Well, this sort of window pane check would be fantastic.
Yeah, excellent.
You know, it would be great. Just something a bit different. You know, we did the Mardi Gras shirts under the Couigs. Why not something else?
So button down check shirts. I'm going to push hard for this because I'll definitely get one too. And I've even still got a haircut for it.
Yeah, I grew the beard during lockdown, and everybody told me how wonderful it looked, so I've kept it. But you know, I used to be completely clean shaven, classics #2 skinhead look. You know. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Ross, it's been wonderful to get your Wycombe thoughts and memories and ideas for the shop as well. And thanks for your support. And know that you'll be following us all season as well in what hopefully will be a great season.
Absolutely. Well, I hope so. You know, I hope, come on, you Blues, and let's get promotion.
Right, that's your lot for this week. Many thanks to you guys for tuning in once more, and also to Ross Miller for sharing his wonderful Chairboys memories. No game next week, as Mansfield have had 3 players called up for international duty and elected to postpone the game. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with news of Wycombe's trip to Northampton. In the meantime, come on you Blues.